Every year, Indianapolis hosts the most important drag race on the planet. And this year, the event is filled with brand new cars and some old superstars. When was the last time you saw this guy sliding into a race car? Within the NHRA is a class of car that defies convention. Door slammers with nitrous, turbos, blowers. These are the Mavericks. This is Pro Mod. Welcome, everybody, to the big one, the National Hot Rod Association's 60th Annual U.S. Nationals here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Claremont, Indiana, just west of Indianapolis. This is the biggest and most prestigious drag race of the season, especially for the NHRA Pro Modified drivers who've competed here since 2001. Now, there are a lot of racers who have won this event, but no one has ever won it twice. Not twice in a row, just twice at all. And on the grounds for this 2014 edition, more cars than have ever attended an NHRA Pro Modified event ever, almost 3 dozen machines. This one will be one for the ages. Yet again, all 16 qualifiers are under 6 seconds flat, and the first race in this first round of eliminations will give us a battle between a twin turbocharged Mustang and Dan Stevenson's nitrous oxide injected Camaro, for whom Tony Christian is crew chief.
Finally, this guy's been leaving me alone and letting me kind of do what I want so I don't look like a horse's behind.
So far, we've seen exceptional numbers during qualifying, but this opening round of eliminations is under drastically different weather conditions than we saw during those qualifying rounds. Kevin Fiskus red lights away what would have been an easy victory. Coasting across the finish line is Stevenson, who wins by virtue of Fiskus leaving the starting line almost a quarter second too soon.
He had to lift you close to the center line.
Very close to the center line, but I'm never an early morning person, but this is Indy, baby. I'll take it.
Absolutely, a win light is a win light, especially at the biggest drag race of the year. The next battle will give us nitrous versus supercharged Chevy Camaros. Mike Knowles backs up alongside Mike Castellana and his crew chief, Shannon Jenkins, on the Speed Tech Nitrous Solutions Camaro. Knowles has proven to be a huge underdog this year, scoring some impressive upset victories, but he's up against one of the toughest past U.S. Nationals winner, Mike Castellana. And Castellana is forced to get on and off the throttle. Mike Knowles does it again. He takes out one of the true hitters in the class and advances at 5.95 seconds.
Come out here and beat a world-class team like Mike and his guys. I mean, he's a excellent guy, but we love kicking ass and taking names.
This could prove to be one of the most important drag races of this event. Mike Janis and his supercharged Chevy Camaro against Troy Coughlin and his turbocharged Corvette. These two are right behind Ricky Smith in the point standings, battling for the number 2 spot. A tremendous drag race, and right at the finish, Coughlin nips Janis with one of the quickest runs of the event so far, 5.86 seconds. That'll bring up the reigning world champion, the man everybody is gunning for, Tricky Ricky Smith, against one of his toughest rivals, Danny Rowe.
Ricky needs to go home. There's no problem with that. Ricky needs to go home, and I want to be the guy to do it.
About 34 of them like to see me go home here, but I ain't planning on it if I can help it, Ted.
There is no love lost between these two. Smith purges the nitrous oxide system in the red and white car on the left side of your screen. Rowe is waiting patiently in the pre-stage beam. There could be a burn down here. We'll have to wait and see who stages first. It's Rowe going in quickly. Ricky is going to take the full 7 seconds to go in. And they leave the starting line wheels up. It's Ricky Smith by a half a car length, 589 to a 591. He advances past one of the toughest drivers in the field.
Man, we need that round for the points. I mean, that was a big round right there, and I went after it. I mean, the track was good. I said, I raised the leave. I just went for kill, and we made a good run.
This exclusive coverage of the NHRA Pro Modified Series presented by Jegs.com at the U.S. Nationals is brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. By Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. By Aeromotive, serious fuel systems for pro mods to hot rods and everything in between. And by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Welcome back to the NHRA Pro Modified Series presented by Jegs.com at the Big Go, Indianapolis, the largest drag race of the season. And this matchup in the first round will pit the last remaining Agave Underground Supercharged Camaro against past NHRA U.S. Nationals Pro Mod finalist Vaughn Smith and the Dr. Moon's Rage Camaro. Bear in mind, the crew chiefs of these two cars are in just as much of a battle as the drivers.
Anytime we run Danny, or in this case, Matusek, it doesn't matter. The crew chiefs are all after their win, not mine or Matusek's win in this case.
There's Howard Moon, the crew chief for the Alanabi Racing Rage Camaro. And of course, Jimmy Rector is the man behind the wrenches on the Agave Underground team. We already saw a loss by Danny Rowe, who was in competition at the very first Pro Modified event here in 2001. Matusek is trying to keep the Agave Underground team in the program, and he does it in the wildest way possible, hole-shotting Vaughn Smith out of here.
I think I'm getting used to the car. You know what? I knew he didn't want any part of this morning. We're ready to go. Danny's out, but we're taking it home. This is awesome. I love you, man.
Our own Brian Lown's the object of Matusek's affections down there on the top end. Here's the next pair, Stephen Whiteley and the J&A Service Supercharged Camaro. This is his rookie season, a racer whose mother and father are killers in the Supercharged Dragster and Supercharged Funny Car ranks in NHRA competition against this man. Already a national event winner this year, Pete Farber and the CRC Brake Clean 1969 Dodge Daytona. And wow, an instantaneous lead for the supercharged Dodge, and Farber wins this one with virtually no problems at 5.95 seconds.
You know, to be going rounds at the 60th Indianapolis and fastest field in history, that's crazy.
Like so many other drivers, Farber is simply overwhelmed by the magnitude of the U.S. Nationals. Our next drag race will pit this twin-turbocharged Chevy Camaro from Canada, driven by Jim Bell, against Jeff Nizer, the legendary engine builder from Texas, here at Indy.
We've been working on the car all year and testing for this race, and just, you know, it all come together at one time.
Pretty much everything in the orange and silver Chevy Camaro was built or created by Jeff Nizer. Jim Bell will be the last one to stage any red lights. Nizer may not know it, but he is an automatic victor. And at his first ever NHRA U.S. Nationals, Nizer advances with the second quickest run of the round.
Next round, you will be facing the always interesting and tough Ricky Smith.
Take him out.
That seems to be the attitude of every driver facing Ricky these days. Now, one of the legends in door slammer drag racing, Billy Glidden and his wife Shannon with the Mickey Thompson Tires and Wheels nitrous-injected Mustang.
I can't leave anything alone, so I've messed with everything. And then on top of that, we're running fuel injection, Big Stuff 3 fuel injection.
Where do you find a woman like that? I mean, she was under the car, helping to put the clutch pack together.
Well, it's just the two of us. That's the way it's always been. I mean, we're 25 years. You remember how it was with Dad. At least he had us kids. You know, it's just the two of us to do this whole deal, and she's as important as the race car.
Bear in mind, Glidden qualified dead last in this program, and he will be taking on a driver who for the second time in his career led the Indy field, Don Walsh Jr., and car owner Harry Haruska knows well Glidden can play games.
You know, the first time I raced Glidden as a crew chief was years ago up in Michigan. That was before the days of trees that had to be activated in 6 seconds. I don't know how long it was, but it was well over 10 seconds. You know, Billy's got a good eye. He knows how to race. He's going to do what he's got to do within the guidelines of the rules. But when he burned us down that time, we ripped the fuel lines out of the car. It shook so hard. We'll be ready for him this time. We're not going to let that happen again.
Glidden's going to have to be ready for Walsh, who ran the season's fastest speed during qualifying at over 252 miles per hour in that red turbo Camaro. They leave the line. Glidden's out in front, but here comes the top-end charge from Walsh. It was almost too close to call, but look at the numbers. Glidden wins on a huge hole shot. Billy Glidden and wife Shannon win it by this much in a huge upset of the #1 qualifier.
That was awesome. That was really awesome. I mean, we've We've really been working hard at this deal, and maybe we're starting to make some really good progress.
And Billy's legendary parents, Bob and Etta, give him a round of applause as he pulls back to the pits. Round number 1 is complete. 3 supercharged cars, 1 turbocharged entry, and 4 nitrous cars are still in battle. Stay with us. Welcome back to the NHRA U.S. Nationals and the Pro Modified Series presented by Jegs.com, which has given us thrills galore just in the first round of competition. We're now ready for the second stanza. It will be the CRC Brake Clean 69 Dodge Daytona of past national event winner Pete Farber against the last remaining Agave Underground machine with Steve Matusik at the wheel.
You know, it's a shame Danny's out. We had a plan. It almost worked to perfection. We were going to try, hoping that all first, 4 guys ahead of us in the points were going to get taken out, and got 3 of them out, and just, that stubborn Ricky Smith couldn't get him out. But, we're doing okay, and I'm pretty excited about carrying the flag.
At this point, Matusik stands to gain many more points than his partner Danny Rowe after an upset first round loss. But he's not going to gain any points in this drag race. Farber drives away from the Camaro to take a convincing win and advance to the semifinal round.
We tuned it up early because I knew Rector would come after us. That thing hiked the tires and it was going to the center line, and I tugged it back to the right, and she just motored on down through there.
The next race is critical for the driver of the yellow Jegs.com turbocharged Corvette. Troy Coughlin is the last remaining driver within striking distance of Ricky Smith. He must stay in against this man, Mike Knowles, and his Colorado Camaro, who says he's ready for Coughlin.
We got something for Troy. He's a good guy, but we want to put a whooping on him.
Knowles has been the spoiler of the year, defeating many quicker cars in eliminations during the NHRA Pro Mod Series. Coughlin is behind, but now the top-end charge makes the difference, and Coughlin will advance to the semifinals at the expense of Knowles. Now, Billy Glidden pulls to the starting line. After a surprising victory in the opening round in which he defeated #1 qualifier, Glidden is feeling good about this race against Dan Stevenson. On the starting line with Billy is his dad, who first won this event back in 1973 in Pro Stock.
Friday made a decent run, and both runs after had problems, so it's hard telling what's going to happen.
Well, Etta comes out to see her son race, and he's doing a really good job. They've had a tough year, and they've struggled, but they're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, he won that on the starting line.
Yeah, he's like his dad.
Yeah.
We're actually planning on probably changing engines, but we ran so good the first round we don't want to change, so we took 1 piston out. And Shannon and I, we've never done a piston before. We've got our buddies, the King brothers, helped us, and the dad helped us, so we had enough hands to just take it apart and look at it real quick, so that's what we did.
I see you guys are kicked back. Your crew chief is doing nothing.
Well, we did the work last night and freshen the engine, and the crew chief never really does much anyway. He just bitches and moans mostly.
Tony Christian has been the butt of jokes over the years, but it's certainly a treat for everybody to see Bob Glidden and Tony Christian on the starting line for this drag race. Shannon takes one last look at the wheelie bars on the starting line as her husband Billy moves into the stage beam. And a red light start for Dan Stevenson. Billy Glidden will advance, and I guarantee you he will shut the engine down early. Yep, 597 and only 219 miles per hour. There was plenty more left in the Mustang.
Did you click it early?
Yeah, I actually saw his red light, so I ran it far enough to get some info and check out our tires and our tune-up and keep it for the next round.
The brand new IDGSupply.com Chevy Camaro of world champion Ricky Smith heats the tires. This is a new Jerry Pickle race car that debuted here at Indy.
Those guys there that I got to run, they run a lot of gear ratio. They get after it real good down low, and they run good down low. So if I can just get some sun on the track, it'll help me. But other than that, it's going to be good racing up there. Old man gonna have to get off the clutch again.
And in fact, this drag race should be one of the closest of the round because both drivers recorded 5.89 second first round victories, and even their reaction times were very similar. Texan Nizer stages first. Ricky takes his time and goes in second, and they leave together again. But problems for Nizer as Flames exit the headers and Ricky crosses the line at 5.90 seconds in a very consistent victory.
How new is this car, and how many laps do you have on it coming into this weekend?
I think we had 10 runs coming on it this weekend. You know, it seemed like it was a real good car. I was hurting a little on speed with it. We worked on that part of the back end, you know, to get some downforce off. But hey, them Jerry Beckle race cars, they're just bad.
Down to the final four at the NHRA U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis. We've got 2 nitrous cars, 1 turbo entry, and 1 supercharged car in competition. Stay with us. This exclusive coverage of the NHRA U.S. Nationals Pro Modified Series presented by Jegs.com is brought to you by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. By Agave Underground, 100% agave tequila. By Hurst, America's #1 shifters. And by B&M Racing and Performance, quality performance products that work. Back at Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis, we are down to the final four in this monumental 2013 NHRA U.S. Nationals battle presented by Jegs.com. It will be Ford versus Mopar, nitrous versus supercharger. While Billy Glidden apparently has plenty of horsepower in store, Pete Farber says he's ready for Glidden's Ford.
All right, tell us now. Tell me now, what are you doing?
We're just tailoring the fuel system a little bit because we leaned on it a little more and it picked it up to the 330. Went 259 to 330. That's pretty good out there.
Yeah, you went a 92. Billy slowed to a 97, but he lifted early.
Yeah, I seen that. He probably wanted to keep the hood scoop on. But when we were up there, I was talking to Matusik about maybe I just go to lunch. But I decided to stay, and I opened a can of whoop-ass for him.
Obviously, Farber is deadly serious about this drag race. The supercharged Mopar in the far lane can run the same elapsed times Glidden's been putting down, but it's not going to matter. Billy Glidden leaves the starting line too soon and hands the victory to Pete Farber, who goes to yet another NHRA final round.
Did you see him go red?
I did. I did see him go red. When I come by, I don't know what happened to him, but it looked like he jumped the gun, but I was going to run it through there and see what happened, see how the clutch performed.
So you took a shot in the tree?
No, I just made too many changes. When I put it on the chip, it just instantly took off.
All right, well, next time?
No, we did better.
That will present a drag race that may actually be more important than the final round. It sounds crazy, but in this Ricky Smith versus Troy Coughlin matchup, if Troy Coughlin can beat Ricky here and then win the final, he may actually move into the point lead leaving this event.
Ricky speeded up to a 90, you slowed down to an 89.
Well, I mean, you know, we keep picking at this thing to try and make this Jegs.com car a little bit faster, and Ricky's got a load in his pocket.
Yeah, he's taking it easy on us, you know. I hope I make him have to run that thing out the back door this time.
Some strong words there from Troy Coughlin, but bear in mind if Ricky Smith wins this round, he will not only stay in the points lead, he will advance to his second NHRA U.S. Nationals final round. Smith takes every bit of time allotted to stage up, and they leave the line. It's a war. Ricky Smith wins it on a hole shot. That's why they call him Tricky Ricky. Watch the replay as Smith holds off the turbo car by 33/10,000ths of a second.
Air's cooling down. Track got 2 or 3 degrees cool that time, Ted, but we left it alone. I just run him hard as I could, you know, and I told you we need to melt that snowball a little bit, and it looks like we did.
Ricky is remarkably composed considering the fact that he's going into his second NHRA U.S. Nationals Pro Mod final. This ought to be great.
Pro Mod 101 is brought to you by Precision Turbo and Engine.
Pro Mod 101 this week. Harry, do Pro Mods have data acquisition like Funny Cars and Top Fuelers?
They sure do, Ted. We have to have data acquisition on these cars to get them down the racetrack. For example, here is our acquisition for the attitude of the strut up and down.
Why do you care about that?
Well, we care about it because we have to keep the car in balance. To get these cars down the racetrack correctly, it has to be at a proper attitude to maintain traction to the rear, and we also have to be able to steer it down track. So it's really critical that we know where these front tires are.
but you're also measuring some other things that have to do with the engine and the power.
Absolutely. We're measuring fuel pressure, oil pressure, drive shaft speed, G meters, not only forward and aft, but lateral Gs, as well as many other items.
Yeah, like boost.
We also have engine acquisition for that, and we can bring that information up right on the dashboard.
Yeah, you can have several different things you can look at, and you can change that and select it.
Because it's programmable. We can determine what we want on the dash, even exhaust temperatures we can put on the dash. Put boost pressure on it, oil pressure, battery voltage, engine RPM. Those are the main things we're looking at when we start the car.
Then after a run, you download that to a laptop or a computer, and you can study everything that happened.
Right. The G meter against the drive shaft speed is a really interesting item to be looking at, because it'll tell you, well, yes, the drive shaft is moving, but is the car moving? And those things, it's always usually 2 or 3 dimensions that you're looking at to make sure the car is going in the right direction, in balance.
See, that's why we have him do ProMod 101.
That brings up the most important drag race of the year for most competitors, the most important drag race of a career for many of these drivers. Pete Farber in the CRC Brake Clean Dodge Daytona is in his first NHRA U.S. Nationals final.
I've been waiting a long time to try to put Ricky, send him home in a final, so it'll be pretty cool.
Ricky, on the other hand, won this event in 2003. He's been a world champion in a myriad of associations, and nobody has ever won this event 2 times. The U.S. Nationals final round is on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, Ricky Smith wins the U.S. Nationals and becomes the first man to do it twice. Farber runs into tire shake. Ricky wins everything.
I mean, I know I keep saying I'm retired, but I am. If I win this championship, ain't nobody stopping me from retired. Me and God done talked. That's it. If I can go and pull this deal off, and that's the reason I'm trying so hard, I'm give out. I'm 60 years old. I'm whooped doing all this work between rounds. I'm amazed that God keeps letting me win, because Ted Jones has watched me win a lot of races in my career. And the good Lord's been riding with me. Thank you. Thank IDG. Main of all, thank my wife for 42 years of putting up with a lot of hell and a lot of hard times. Thank Melly Allen, NHRA! Woo! All right.